Before we get Dax Bennick here on the line, West Virginia Motorsports. If you are looking for your next ride, look no further than my friends over at West Virginia Motorsports. If you are around the surrounding area and looking for a pre-owned motorcycle, dirt bike, and or ATV, make sure to stop by Princeton, West Virginia. Don't forget to order your parts for your current bike through West Virginia Motorsports or alongside walking out the door with that brand new ride. Don't forget to go to those oil filters and air filters on your way out, and don't catch them on fire like Heavy D did.
Don't do that. That's no-no.
No. And Dax Bennick here on the line, the winner of Anaheim 2 Supercross Futures, the first one of the year. And Dax, man, it's good rides this weekend. Thanks a lot for coming on this to the Imperative MX podcast.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man. Man, like I said, you had good rides this weekend for your first Supercross appearance, and obviously first Supercross Futures for you as well. And by saying that, you aren't very new to riding on a Supercross track. How long have you actually been riding Supercross track? I know you had one down there at your North Carolina property.
I've had a Supercross track since I wasn't obviously full blown, but I mean, it had like decent rhythms and stuff. So I've been pretty familiar with it for my whole life, really. So, and then I had a pretty close to like full blown one when I was on, I believe 85, the Super Mini.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I've had a lot of experience on them.
Yeah, no kidding. And do you feel like that helped you, transitioning into kind of this Supercross role?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it's weird in amateurs because there's not really time to ride it because it's all outdoor stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, it definitely prepared me for this for sure. But I will say there's nothing like riding like a real Supercross track. Like obviously Anaheim was real, and then the ones we train on at Star are obviously pretty gnarly. So yeah, it was a shock when I got here actually because the tracks are really hard. Like the whoops are much harder than the ones I've ridden at least. So
yeah.
It took some time for me to get used to it, and obviously the guys I'm training with were going really fast. So it took me a while to get in the flow, but it's coming around for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. And you for sure found the flow this weekend. And like I said, or like what you were saying, that it is a different, look and a different view, especially when you're on the floor of a Supercross track and looking at some of these obstacles for the very first time. And, what was kind of your thoughts, walking during track walk and looking at these obstacles? What's kind of running through your mind?
Yeah, it was kind of feeling like it was all real. Like I've always wanted to be in this position. So walking the track was pretty cool, like normal. I mean, it's nothing like stood out crazy to me. The Dragon Stack was pretty big, obviously. And then for some reason, like the finish was really big this weekend. Like the lip was huge on it. But other than that, it looked pretty normal, I guess. Obviously, you don't really know until you ride. So I guess first practice was like I watched the B group go first, and like it was pretty sketchy, honestly. I was a little scared. Yeah, I didn't know what to think. But I went out there, and I just took my time the first couple laps, and everything felt really peaky. We were like the first people on the track, so it was pretty peaky, to be honest. You couldn't really taste anything. And the finish line was huge, but I greased it, thank God.
Yeah.
The group before me, some kid hit it first lap, went to the moon, and just framed it. I don't know. He didn't ride anymore. He might have hurt his wrist, but yeah, it was a big finish line.
Oh, no, that's awesome. And, yeah, myself and Heavy D were actually talking about this during the race, and I even called it out that you were putting in consistent laps out on the track each qualifying session with little, like, break laps, meaning you didn't have very many, you would pull into the mechanics area, or at least from what, I could see on, live timing and all of that. It just seems like you put in very consistent laps, and I feel like that helped you by the main event. And I said, it wouldn't surprise me if Daxton comes out and wins this, because everybody's going to be on their nerves and everything like that, but he's been consistent, kind of the entire day. Do you feel like that kind of helped you, or what was your thought process kind of just doing consistent laps through qualifying?
Yeah, so honestly, going into qualifying, I wanted to get a good lap, obviously, but I wasn't like my main. It was like a goal for sure, but it wasn't like something I was super torn up about. Like I wanted to just click my laps, and the first couple, like I think I was holding my breath. I was getting out of breath quick, so I tried to like keep pushing to like break through that. And really, every time I went out was better. Like you said, I did a lot of laps. Like they were pretty fast, but I was trying also to get like a good lap, but I think it was important to go out there and click laps off because that's what you're gonna do in the race. And at the end of the day, the one lap thing, it doesn't really matter as much in the race. It's totally different. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Take us through that main event. When did the nerves start kind of hitting you once you got out front? Like, on the gate, I'm sure, you got a little bit of nerves, but yeah, take us through a little bit of the nerves throughout that main event.
Yeah, so I was a little nervous on the start. Obviously, the fans and like you can just hear everything, which is weird. And so I mean, I got to okay start. Like my practice starts were way better, so definitely should have been a whole shot. But I think come out 4th or 5th, and I guess the first rhythm section, like there was a couple guys in front of me. They were getting so squirrely, so I was just like trying to stay calm because like they were obviously you could tell like they were their nerves were high.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna relax for a minute. I'm not trying to kill myself first rhythm.
Yeah.
And then I got through a couple of those kids, and I mean, I would say towards the end of lap 1, like I felt good and pretty confident that I could go to the front, and I got into 3rd, I believe, and Casey, I guess, and Hawkins was probably 3 or 4 seconds in front of me, and I knew I was a lot better in the whoops. Like I had the jump line down really good, and I would make a good time there. And then all around the track, I was good too. So I closed the gap in probably 2 laps, and I made a good pass on Cochran that stuck. And then I closed in to the leader, Hawkins, and he made a little mistake in the whoops, and then I knew I had to go right there. So I ran him a little high, and then I got the lead. And once I got the lead, I was confident that I could win because I knew I could really lay down at least 2 good laps before the main event was over. So I laid down, I think, 1 or 2 really fast laps and broke away. And then, I was a little cautious the last 2 corners because I didn't want to crash. So, it was a good race, though. It was good for me to come win.
Yeah, no kidding. And like I said, even in the beginning, right as soon as we got you on here, a lot of people weren't looking at you, coming in, and it's awesome to see. And, the Imperative MX podcast episode number 13 here, speaking with the winner from Anaheim 2 Supercross Futures, Daxton Bennick. Heavy D?
Yeah, dude. I know what I want to say is, like, for me watching you, like, a lot of the, like, kids in the Supercross Futures I noticed, and I don't know if it's just like a domino effect or they just kind of like looking up to see what the actual pro guys do. But you notice a lot of the pro guys, they throw down a heater and then they just kind of chill until somebody else like surpasses their time, and then they'll try and click it back on and do it again instead of like I watched you and it was like you had your own agenda what you were going to do. It's like you were clicking off laps, and I watched, and me personally, I thought it was pretty cool because, like, everybody, like, even on a new track, if you're not comfortable, you don't go fast. So, like, me watching you, it was like you rode it and you got comfortable with the track to where everybody else wasn't. Like, you feel like that helped you in the main?
Yeah, I will also say what helped a lot was, like, luckily we rode Friday too. We had a lot of practice before the race, so I mean, these kids were already kind of at their best, like the first one. And the first one for me, it was just learning the track, really. So, I mean, I couldn't really do like roll around and then a fast lap because I never felt like I fully got down like the track and the flow of the track. So that's why I kept doing laps and laps and laps so I could figure it out. And then once I figured it out, I did lay down a pretty good lap going into the night show.
That's cool because, like, even watch you in a night show when like you were behind Cocker and Hawkins, it was like when you was racing, like it looked like, like, all right, like there's no big, I can catch them. But it was like you knew like where you could push on the track at and where you had to kind of, be a lot more smoother and lay off of it a little bit, because how you picked them off and then just stay consistent, it just almost looked like, all right, they weren't even there. It was like you just knew the fast way around the track.
Yeah, I did. Like I said, obviously one of the spots on track that was a little sketchy, it kind of got a lot of people in the pro class, and obviously got Hayden in the futures, which after that finish, that turn into the Dragon's Back, it's kind of a weird section, and it's flat, so you can't be a hero really right there because it will bite you. So that was a little tricky corner for sure. I felt like I wasn't very fast in it, but I stayed up, so that was good. And then the whoops obviously were where I was making up a lot of my time, so I knew I was good in those. So yeah.
One more. The finish line face. Everybody was sticking to the right side. I guess because how jank that corner was, but it looked like the face got a gnarly G out. It looked like you hit it one time when like you got close, you didn't really make the pass right there. I don't think you really wanted to take that one line, but it looked pretty sketch.
Yeah, I feel like I stayed in the same part of that like jump all day, so I moved over whenever I got beside Cochran, but I also didn't know, like everyone jumps to the left or the right to like open up the corner, so I thought he was gonna go into me, so I was kind of scared. But
oh man.
Bike changes. Did you do a lot throughout the day?
I didn't touch my bike.
Okay, so
dang.
So you're comfortable pretty much just the same setup you got.
Yeah, literally. I even before that, from practicing leading up, like we tried little things, but I mean, I've really been on the same setup forever. So, I mean, to be honest, ever since I got on this bike, like it's been really good. I don't have any complaints. It's amazing. So, no, we really haven't touched it. It feels like it's unreal in the whoops. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And going back a little bit, you switched from a long-time, racer over there at KTM, and obviously you made the switch over to the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing team. Take us through that a little bit, the mindset behind that move and how it's going so far for you, and training, down at the goat farm with everybody.
Yeah, it was a big move, but, I mean, to be honest, I've always wanted to be on Star, and I feel that this would help me be a champion in the sport. So this team wants to win really bad. So, I mean, and I want to win too. So that's good. And I feel like they'll do anything to help like me get that. So it was a no brainer to be honest. And, yeah, the training's good. The tracks are, pretty gnarly and the training's hard. So it's good. And everyone like is pushing every single day. So your teammates kind of help like lift you up.
Yeah, no, that's good. Are the guys there? Are they willing to help, yourself and Hayden out and make you guys better in some sections that maybe they can point out?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're all there to help really, and it's good riding with them because you can learn, and like obviously some of the pro guys are going really, really fast, so it's good to even see that, to even know what it looks like.
Right. Local racing, do you miss it? Do you miss it at all? Do you miss going down on a weekend, kind of just, going and hanging out, or you loving the grind right now?
That's hard. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to race every weekend. Racing's the easy part, it feels like. So,
right.
I mean, yeah, I loved racing locally or whenever I could, just because now, like, you train and you race, I had a Futures last weekend, and then the next one's in, I think, Arlington. So, and I'll obviously have spring nationals too, but, the higher you go, I guess, the less you race. So even when you go pro, like you have obviously the pro motocross rounds, the Supercross, but then you're off for a little bit too. So yeah, it's hard. We don't get as much gate drops anymore for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. And I can only imagine, just kind of wanting to have an off weekend, kind of almost like what, Cooper Webb did, not for that long duration, but, kind of just get back to, just going to some local motocross tracks and hanging out. But one of the things I noticed during the post press conference, you were asked, Dax, a question from a Cycle News reporter about Hayden Deegan being your teammate and the number of people at the truck during the pit party, and if you wanted to be the top guy or kind of the underdog under the truck. And of course, your response was great. Do you remember what your response was?
I mean, maybe a little bit. I think I said something like something about winning, but I don't remember.
You said you said, yeah, I don't mind it. He has a lot of followers on YouTube and stuff, but it feels good, especially when I win.
Yeah. I had to fight the press conference up a little bit.
Oh man, that was great. You had everybody in there laughing from what I could hear. One of the questions was that I had for you, Dax. One of the last ones I had was, what's next for you? But you already kind of said it with Arlington and Spring Nationals, and you're doing Loretta's again this year, or what's the plan?
Yeah, it would be to go Loretta's, and then I don't really know what's after that. I don't think I'll do Loretta's again, but yeah, definitely Loretta's this year.
Okay, cool. 2 classes or just 1?
2, which would be, I guess, 450 and 250 pro,
okay.
Or open pro.
Okay, and you're gonna ride the 250 and 450 or an open, right?
Yeah, I would ride 250.
Okay. Have you rode a 450? A 450 down at the goat farm at all?
No, I haven't. I would like to get on one just to play around, but no, not yet.
Okay.
But I'm sure that day will come.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure you're gonna love that thing. Of course. Heavy D, any last questions for Dax here?
Yeah, I don't know why I wanted to ask this so bad, just because if the opportunity just came up and they were like, all right, we're putting you on East Coast, how would you feel about it? Like right now?
Yeah, I mean, I would go ready to do as good as I can. It would be obviously a big move, but I mean, I would line up just like every other race and try and do good.
Yeah.
Well, now, only reason I ask is because, you got some guys like, it's crazy to think, like, man, like, I remember you, like, we've known each other a while, and, like, seeing you on minis, and now it's like, dang, that time flew by. And it's like, you got some guys, when they get up to this level, they're, like, over the amateur ranks, and they're just ready to go race pro. So I like to try and ask, like, several, like, especially guys in your position, top of the class, like, just ready to go, just like, all right, would you rather, like, stay back and do Loretta's like this year, or if they were like, all right, let's go race East Coast Supercross, would you be like, let's go? So,
yeah, for sure. Which obviously, once you do that, there's no going back. So,
yeah. But
that's what like some of my teammates say, like, enjoy while you're amateur. So,
yeah, well,
trying to enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I'm 30 plus now. I officially have my vet card now at the races. So yeah, my amateur or that lower part is pretty much gone on me so far. But Dax, I've never met you in person, but I really do appreciate you coming on here and of course chatting with myself and Heavy D. And yeah, man, it was awesome to see. I'm from Virginia, so you're from North Carolina in the local area, and we're rooting for you and everything like that. So keep up the grind, and man, we can't wait to see you race coming up here soon.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was awesome to come on this podcast.
Yeah, man, awesome. Thanks a lot, Dax. Have a good night.
Thanks, Dax.
Yep, no problem. See you guys. See ya.
Later.